Good afternoon, everyone. It is just the top of the hour, and we'll go ahead and get started on our monthly office hours here from the CCC Technology Center. I'm Jennifer Coleman. I'm the Executive Director of the Tech Center out of Butte College, and we have a few housekeeping items, and then we'll go ahead and get started with our content for today. We have captioning available via the Zoom closed captioning button. We will be recording the session, and it will be sent out to all registered parties in a week or two. And we do encourage use of the chat tool for questions and comments. There will be time at the end of our review of the request form to talk about other questions and comments. So we'll go ahead and get those answered as they come up, or hold them until the end to make sure that we get everything covered. So thank you for joining us. Today's agenda will include an introduction to the Student Success Suite and an overview of what we have going on. And then the goal is really to cover our new update request form by section and answer questions so that you all can provide feedback and requests for update to CCCApply. And we will review the process and timeline for once submissions are received by our office. And then, as I mentioned, we will have Q&A. So to start with, I want to talk about the Student Success Suite. So we used to talk about CCCApply and our account system and MyPath as separate entities and offerings. And a couple of years ago, we moved to transition those to a singular offering. And our student users don't see it as anything different than how they get into a college. And so we wanted to talk about it and approach the development and resourcing for the projects and products in a singular way. So we have our Student Success Suite that includes the three primary products that I mentioned. The form that we're going to talk about today is focused solely on CCCApply and the suite of applications, including the standard application, the non-credit simplified workflow from the standard application that does not include residency, and a number of other not required components for non-credit students. The California College Promise Grant, which is an opt-in application for the California College Promise Grant process locally, and the international application, which I believe about a third of our colleges use for their international student population. So the request form that we're going to cover today is to request changes to these four primary pieces of the Student Success Suite. Other input can, of course, be given in other ways, and I'll have Jane Linder talk about that as well. But primarily, we're going to focus on CCCApply and the request for updates to those applications. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jane now to talk about what we have going on right now, so that if you have great ideas that align with what is already in development, you can know that they're going to happen, and we don't have to worry about you submitting those requests that end up being duplicative. So go ahead, Jane, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. The Chancellor's Office ID.me student verification project has been what our team's been focusing on since we were engaged with that in May. And so that has been our focus for these first couple quarters of this fiscal year, but we're getting to the point where we're wrapping that up. And we also were working with the Student Success Suite user group on the bulk account creation tool. This was something that builds off of a feature we shipped last year, allowing incarcerated staff working with incarcerated students to create accounts on their behalf. And this is also a tool that we know will help with the CCCID mandate that colleges have been grappling with. I know a lot of you with a big population of non-credit students, many of you don't have CCCIDs for those. So this bulk account creation tool can help you reach the MIS reporting requirements for CCCID. That's going to be coming out very soon. We are also, constantly working with legislation and mandates that come down and trying to figure out how we can support that with the application and other products that we develop and maintain. So the associate degree for transfer legislation, we are going to be offering a way that majors can filter for associate degree for transfer within CCCApply to support AB 928, and that's slated for spring of next year so that it can roll out ahead of that deadline. We're also expanding the American Indian and Alaska Native tribal list. Right now we have, I think, about 139 tribes, mostly focused on tribes that are native to California, but we're expanding that to reflect all of the tribes that are recognized federally. So that's going to expand that to about 576, I believe. That'll be coming out also in the spring. Annual updates we do every year. We, for those of you who use the online CCPG application, we of course have a new version of that every year. So the 24-25 version of that is slated for the January timeframe with all of the new income requirements and so forth to align with the PDF version of that. Also, we will be also aligning updates to the parenting question. Feedback from the field. We got a lot of feedback from a lot of colleges asking how to answer it with the single question that we're asking now. So we are updating that to ask not just about dependents, but also to allow students to enter the number of dependents they have who are under 18 or who are 18 and older. So those updates will be coming in the new year. So that's what we're working on right now. For the future, we are looking forward to getting back to our SSS 2.0, which some of you have heard us call the Next Gen app. This is the Transform CCCApply application. We really are focusing on reducing the time it takes to complete the application. We know that streamlined applications work because we had noticed that once we removed things like residency and citizenship fields from the non-credit application, the completion rates jumped to over, I think they're 92% now. So most of the students really complete that application and in reduced time. So we wanted to focus on the standard application. Most of you understand and know that well over 85% of the fields there are mandated legislated fields. So we can't just say we want to take them out and remove them. The other 15% are typically just the student's profile and address information. So most of everything that's on there now, we have to actually get some collaboration with the Chancellor's Office and the legislature to remove, but there is a lot of support for that with the Chancellor's Office to streamline the standard application. And so we are engaging with a task force and with a contractor, Accenture, who's been analyzing all those questions and surveying colleges and trying to find out a lot of information about what data could possibly be removed to a later step in the process and not in the application. But really what we want to get to is a super easy 5-minute application for our students so that they can get on and get affirmed in their that they're in and then have additional steps later. So we really are trying to remove the obstacles and focus on student engagement with the Next Gen system. And we've got some exciting new architecture that supports that. We have student tested some of the screen design. We're working in building an analytics that allow for messaging, reminders, and interaction from the moment the student starts to create their account. So just a lot more interaction with the student in this new architecture. And then analytics that kind of help us to see where students are hanging up more specifically and being able to address those. So good future. We have completed our phase 1 demo last year. We did a demo of a dual enrollment application, specific workflow for dual enrollment students, because with this new architecture, we can do specific tailored application workflows for certain student groups. So we completed that demo and we have been shopping that around and showing various stakeholders what this new architecture can do. And I'll put in a plug and say, if you're interested in learning more about the Transform CCC application, we're certainly open to scheduling a demo. All right, that's pretty much it for the future. Once we wrap up the IDME work, we're going to be diving right back into this. And really our next step is to have the transformed non-credit application. That's our first step because, again, it's streamlined. We can get that done, get testing on this and feedback from the field while we work on all those questions about what we can remove from the standard application. And actually, Chris, I just saw the question from Christina. Contact the college experience managers, and we'll talk about how you can get a hold of them, and they can schedule that.
And there's the info from Michael. Thank you, Michael. And we will also touch on that a little bit after we review the form. So we know that our best feedback and our best input into updates to CCCApply come from you all of you, working with the students directly, processing the application data once it's sent to you. And so we've gone through various iterations of how to collect requests and updates over the years. And right now we want to centralize it into a singular space so that we can collect everything and it doesn't get lost because it goes into a different structure so that we can track it all over time and look at prioritization and great ideas from the field and incorporate them into the priorities that we're working with. So I'm going to link to the form now and walk through the components of the form. And to start off, again, this is specific to CCCApply. If you have other ideas, please contact your college experience manager, contact Jane Linder, and we will make sure that the input into those other products and services is incorporated. The form here provides a brief overview, again, for application types, lists them, and also talks about AB 3101, which is the legislation from 2018 that put into place the non-credit application and simplifies the application so that we adhere to state and federal legal requirements and keep things streamlined as much as possible for students. Requests have to come in from a college or a district or a chancellor's office staff person and have executive level approval and agreement on the submission. So we know that you all have great ideas, but we want to make sure that they're being filtered up through your college and are representative of a college or district's request and not an individual request. So we do ask for that information in the form. The deadline to submit a request is October 31st. That's coming up in just a couple of weeks. And each year, the deadline will be in October for updates to be considered for the following calendar year. So when we get these updates, we will then incorporate them into planning for next January through December, overlaying 2 fiscal and academic years. The portal will stay open year-round. It will always be open. We have already received requests for this cycle, but anything received after October 31st may not be reviewed and incorporated into the priorities until the next review cycle next fall. Unless it's a legal mandate, we do get information. Last October, we got a notification that the governor had signed new legislation that required an update to CCCApply by January. And so sometimes there are additional factors that come into play for consideration of updates. But October 31st is the goal for submission for consideration for the following calendar year, January to December. Also to note, the form that we are going to review is not applicable to bug fixes or error fixes. So if you find something that's not operating the way that it should per the data dictionary and maybe previous functionality, you don't have to fill out this whole form. You instead submit a ticket to our staff support help desk. And so that link is provided right here from the form. So all of that information is always available as part of the interface here. And then we get into the basic information for data collection. So who is the requester, first and last name, what is their title within their college or within another organization, a district, what is the title of the requester, and basic contact information. Email address is required, phone number is not, and you can see what's required by the little red asterisk and what is not. We get into the district name. We've made it so that you can have there's a drop-down option for districts. And we also have the chancellor's office listed because again, chancellor's office staff can request an update as well. Once you fill in your district name, then we want to know, are you representing a district or an individual college or the chancellor's office? So we can say we're representing an individual college or district or the chancellor's office. And then the college name is also a drop down, with the first option being not applicable because this is a district level request. And again, the chancellor's office listed as an entity here as well. So you can select your college name. And then we get into who is the executive level approver who's going to support this request. Executive level, we've been asked, what does that mean? Is that, what is executive level? Is it the college president? No, it doesn't have to be the college president. Most likely it's a dean or vice president of student services or IT or research or something along those lines. But we're looking at that higher level approver. Or if you're the submitter and you're at that executive level, that's also acceptable. We just want to know who will be able to take this forward at the executive level as a sponsor and approver of the request. And again, same information about the executive level approver, their title, their email address. And those are required. And this is something that is really important to the chancellor's office to know where the support is coming from within a college. We've talked about where these requests are going to come from. Of the number of requests that we've gotten already for this cycle, we have two from student services, and we have one from research already, and we've had questions from other areas of the college. So I expect that to be a broad representation when we go forward. We then move into the source of the update request. This is where we talk about how did this idea come to pass? Is it student feedback? Has there been a legislative update? Is there a chancellor's office memo or an MIS update that is requiring this change? Is there a system-wide representative organization that has requested this? Jane has worked closely with a couple of different advocacy groups over the last couple of years to inform changes to the application. And we want to make sure that those are able to be reflected here as well, advocacy or interest groups. And then individual stakeholder representing a college or district. This is for the individual who maybe you're responsible for processing a specific type of data at your college and you realize it would be way easier if a specific change were made. So we have that individual as well. Garrett, thank you for pointing that out. We will add North Orange into the list. Apologies for that. I copied it from a different survey, so we'll get that fixed. And San Diego, we will add in our continuing ed entities. I know we have a few across the system, so we'll get those added. Thank you. So the source of the update is really who says we need to have this updated? Is it students? Is it legislated? Is it an individual who works with the students or the data? That kind of thing is the source. Then we get in here. I saw the question in the chat. Is this applicable to non-credit? Can we make changes? Yes, you can select which application, and you can actually do a multi-select. If you think that it should be for all of them, you can select all of them. If you think that it should be non-credit and standard, you can select two. Just one is fine. Anything that applies in terms of which application should be considered for the request. So fairly straightforward in terms of which application, but we will talk about in this next question, what section of the application does this apply to? And we link to the data dictionaries. So this data dictionary link goes to our public documentation for CCCApply. And you'll be able to see if you're not sure. And we do have listed some examples within these sections. And again, you can select more than one. If you aren't sure where that might fit, we do have the link straight to the data dictionary to confirm that. And if it's other, we do have the other option. So as you move through these sections, it may be that you're proposing something new within, maybe it's enrollment information and it's not term, major, or program, it's, meta major, which is somewhat related, but maybe not listed. So these examples are not exhaustive. You can list other if necessary, but know that there's a lot of flexibility here in terms of what can be requested. Yes, and also to Jane's point in the chat, we know that other can also indicate support components for the application, like the spam filter, fraud intervention and mitigation, those kinds of things. So we move on to the next question, where we ask for specifying the specific question or responses to be updated, and that's an if possible. So if you have specific requests to change a question or update it, we ask that you indicate which one we are talking about. We do understand that some questions are closely related or can seem like they're the same, but we do have some cases where there is similar information collected in separate spaces, and we want to make sure we're clear on what is being requested. So that's for additional clarification around the question to be updated, or the responses. Oftentimes our requests for updates come with, hey, can we add this option to the drop-down menu for this specific question? We want this other option available. And can you move this option that's at the top to the bottom so students don't just automatically select that one at the top that messes things up down the road? Those kinds of things can be noted here as well. The next question gets into AB 31, which I mentioned, and there are some highlights listed here as a reminder that only data that is required by the federal government, state law, or that is otherwise necessary as determined by the chancellor is collected during the application process. Residency exemption for specific courses exists for non-credit, including career development and college preparation courses, and is not subject to residency classification. So you can indicate whether you believe your request aligns with this, yes, no, or not sure. We want to make sure that that's an option here as well. Is this update required? So the requirement comes with the categories that are listed here that go along with new legislation, new regulation, alignment to MIS updates, supporting accountability, supporting allocations. And so again, multi-select here. You can select more than one for the requirement piece and the source of that requirement. So if you say, yes, it's required, then here are the reasons. There's also this option, update is requested but not required. That doesn't mean that it's considered less than, but it is a factor in prioritization, potentially, depending on how many requests come in. So again, you can select any number of those. Then we get into where we ask for additional requirements gathering. We want some more information about what you're requesting. So if there is additional information on the source, so if it's a new Assembly bill or Senate bill, what is the legislative number? What is the MIS data code that's associated? And putting that in here as a short answer text as well, to again provide additional information to our teams for when they are processing these requests. And then we ask for a draft of the question or content. And this can be as short or as long as you want. One of the requests we've gotten in had multiple options. You could do it this way, you could do it this way, you could do it that way. Really great functionality would be to do it this way. And so this is an opportunity to provide a starting point for additional or changed language and examples here. Again, required, but as short or as long as makes sense. Then we ask for the proposed first term of implementation. This is not required, but if it is a legislated change or a mandated change, as I mentioned last fall, we got one at the third week of October that had to be implemented January 1st. So in that case, it was a necessary implementation of spring of 23. And so one of the requests that we've gotten so far says any term, it'd be really helpful, so as soon as possible. Again, this is a short answer, and that can be answered depending on what your request is. The next question has to do with engagement with Chancellor's Office staff. So sometimes updates come in. Jane's mention of AB 928. We have a Chancellor's Office lead who's been working with the user group and a number of other stakeholders on updating language to support AB 928 changes with the associate degree for transfer. So in this case, the answer would be yes. And the individuals' names from the Chancellor's Office can be listed here. Again, this is for the Chancellor's Office to see who else they should be talking to within the organization to help with prioritization and engagement at that level. Similarly, is there an external organization involved in this request, such as the Student Aid Commission, Department of Social Services, or National Center for Education Statistics? Yes or no, this is required. Again, simple question, but if yes, then we specify, please, the applicable organization or organizations. Sometimes we've had requests from, Student Aid Commission that have come in, sometimes based on potential fraud mitigation, those kinds of things. And we want to make sure that we are able to reach out to those other organizations for requirements gathering and coordination of any more global changes that may need to happen. The last question is to list any additional individuals or groups with potential interest in the change. So who are the other stakeholders, or who are the stakeholders? Again, as I mentioned, is this primarily researchers? Is it student services? Is it financial aid? What are the organizational affiliation and contact information for the stakeholder groups? Maybe it's CACRO, maybe it's some other, CCCA or some other group that has an interest and would be part of the stakeholder feedback. That's it. That's the whole form, page 1 of 1. You can, once you submit it, and I haven't answered all the required questions here, I don't think, so I can't, I won't get the submit page without doing that. But once you submit, you will get a landing page that will provide you with some additional information that I'm actually going to cover separately anyway. So it will say, thank you for your submission. Here are the next steps. And so I'll jump back over here to the presentation. And again, some reminders, October 31st is the upcoming deadline. We need executive level sponsorship and approval. And important to consider is that existing development and roadmap commitments will be considered during the prioritization process. So as you heard Jane allude to, we've got a lot of development and roadmap work that's already underway for this fiscal year. And so these ideas will be factored into that work that's coming or that's already in flight, including the potentially into next fiscal year, because we're talking about a calendar's worth of commitment. So steps after submission, you'll submit the form, and then our staff here at the Technology Center will review all of the submissions and reach out with additional questions and requests for clarification, and maybe get additional feedback from stakeholder groups or others for feedback before compiling a list of the submissions and initial prioritization and notations for the Chancellor's Office review. So as an example, maybe one of the requests that we get in is something that's already in the works. And so we will note that this is in the works. It will be part of the March release or spring release, Q2 release, those kinds of things. And we will put together a list for priority requests from the Technology Center to the Chancellor's Office, who we will then meet with, discuss all of the requests, and the Chancellor's Office will provide approval and prioritization of the new requests within the existing work that they've already directed us to perform. And once that happens, once that approval is secured, then our team at the Technology Center continues on the development process and plans for development and releases as part of our standard agile software development process. And while this is going on, there will be communication to the requester. The Student Success Suite user group will hear and provide feedback. And of course, we will have release notes and other public documentation available as part of that effort.
Yeah, and Will had a really good question about, will there be a page we can see on what has been submitted? And yes, you know, we're with this process, we're trying to return to more formal sort of stakeholder and prioritization so everyone can see what's been asked. And in the past, we have a space in our public documentation that's called requirements or enhancement, proposed enhancements. So we're going to start setting that up for the upcoming, you know, this upcoming January, you know, to December, you know, as Jennifer identified for this form, and we'll have, you know, the output of these forms will be shared there so everyone can kind of see what we're looking at prioritizing. So yes.
So those are the form and the steps. So I will pause there and see if there are additional questions. I will run through the chat here. I think we caught most of them as we went.
Yeah, Robin has a question, Jennifer.
Yes,
Will the college or yeah.
Let's see. Will the college or district submit to you the names of those eligible to approve? We don't have a process for that. What we are looking for again is that it be someone, dean, vice president, that kind of level. And we will then follow up with any questions if it comes through to us. What we're trying to avoid are, like I say, individuals who are requesting on behalf of themselves versus the college. We want there to show that there's been some communication and coordination within the college on the submission. So we do not have a list of who would be eligible to approve. Everybody's structure looks a little bit different. And so we do have flexibility there. But if you have questions and want to know more, then you can reach out with them and we'll work with you to make sure that we have what we need.
And I think that there will, oh, and Mitch, yeah, actually the parent question, one of the reasons why we're revising it is due to the MIS requirements, though we did actually work with MIS on the original question. And the idea was that they were setting up that field for future originally, but it's caused so much confusion that we're going back to kind of make sure that that can be addressed. But this is actually one reason why we want to do this form and try to get an understanding of everyone that's working on it, because with the parenting question, there was another entity that had actually already wrote the question. So we kind of had to align to that language because the boat had already sailed. And you know, we're trying to prevent that. We're trying to make sure that things that that impact the application we can get ahead of, so that one side of the building is not asking something that doesn't match the other side. So that is one reason why we have all of those questions that we're asking, so we know to go and talk to other entities who might already be started on this or even recommending language.
And Robin, in the case where the application process is done at the district level, but requests may come from colleges, I would ask that you reach out to Jane and our team to make sure that we are aware of, you know, your district process, and that we make sure that we are using the right submission approvers. So if you can provide that information to us offline, that would be great.
Yeah, and I did get a question for Roseanne, which is a good one. And actually, Roseanne, the reason that we were able to at least make the parenting question a little bit easier in the first cut was because of feedback from CACRO. I was actually at the CACRO annual conference when this came up, and we got feedback from them to at least modify it as we did to help. And now we're going back, as I say, and we're updating that for this next coming year.
Yes. Any other questions on the form or the submission? Would the registrar be able to make a submission? I would say that it would depend on your structure at your college. The registrar could certainly put in the submission, but if there's a vice president of admissions and records or student services, I would recommend that they be involved in the submission and aware of the request. So residency determination date, legislation changes. I would say, Mitch, you can put that request in as a submission, and we will, to Jane's point earlier, we have a lot of changes that need to happen in coordination with government relations, with various entities outside of the digital innovation and infrastructure side of the Chancellor's office. And so we encourage the request so that we can start the formal dialogue around it with support and documentation.
Yeah, for example, the one of the requests that I've had across my desk many times is for the student SSID to be included in the application information sent to colleges, so they can also share that with high school districts and they can connect the dots on dual enrollment. Unfortunately, we have a data sharing agreement that limits our ability to share the SSID that way. However, we can work when we are engaging now with the Chancellor's office to try to change that agreement with the CDE and make it so that we can share that data. So again, all of this comes from the field. Some of it's over our pay grade, but we know how to start up the ladder to try to get those conversations started.
And we know that, a lot of conversations are happening with your feeder high schools and districts around dual enrollment, the prioritization of dual enrollment and adult services for career education and other short-term opportunities within the Vision 2030 and the new Chancellor's priorities. And we want to make sure that those are factored in here as well. So if you see something, you have a special population that you're working with, and you want to see if a change can be made to accommodate them, please reach out with that as well. If you are working with a high school, or in the case of some of our districts working with local consortia, list that on the form, make sure that you're including that, because that becomes very powerful in how we respond to those requests and are able to take them forward for additional consideration. So if you're working with those groups, please make sure that you're listing them outside of formal advocacy groups to include high school counselors and those kinds of things. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, we'll go ahead and get into a couple of closing things. And so Jane, you want to take it on from here?
Yeah. So let's see here. Sorry, I was answering a question. Wanted to just round up for a lot of you. There's some questions about, well, how can we get more information about what's even happening so we know what to request more, have a more informed idea of what we can request. One of the ways, register for an account at ccctechnology.info. That will give you, all of the information on upcoming releases that are happening for the application and the other Student Success Suite products. That's where we post things like when there's system downtime that's going to be associated to a release, or routine maintenance that's happening. Those are all things that I know you guys are very much interested in. So release updates, plan maintenance, have a general question. You can start a discussion and find best practices and other input from the field. This is actually where a lot of you have gone in the past through the staff support site to request enhancements and kind of get a discussion started on that. And you can still do that. And what we would do is we would say, this is a great idea. Here's your link to the form. Why don't you put that through? And the other thing I wanted to touch on is, partner with other colleges. That is some of the best recommendations we've gotten are from consortiums like the Guided Pathways group, the dual enrollment folks from the Central Valley presented us with a super good pitch for the dual enrollment workflow that had all of the screens and the streamlining that they wanted to see there. So there's, partnering with other colleges, another good way that you can put these in and mention that this is a number of colleges are actually interested in this. All right, so back to other ways to know what's up. We do have our Student Success Suite quarterly user group meetings. The more the merrier, please join that. This is where we actually a lot of times beat up proposals, take a look at the language and have everyone say, no, I don't like that. I don't think the students will understand. And then, we can collaborate on questions and things like that. So I would definitely encourage you to reach out to your college experience managers and get invited to that. We also have a private spam discussion group that's on ccctechnology.info. It's invisible unless you're explicitly invited. It is our one secret forum in this system where we can be really frank about what's going on in terms of fraud attacks and fraud patterns, and we can detail the rules that the spam filter uses without we can't post that into public information. Inspector General and the Chancellor's Office says we can't do that, which is the right decision, obviously, because we know that a lot of these bad actors look through our public documentation trying to find out information about what we're doing and get around it. So again, that's reach out to your college experience manager. They can get you on that discussion group. And that is my segue to Michael.
Thanks, Jane. That was a short one. Just a reminder, this is an opportunity for you to also ask questions about any of our products and services from the Technology Center, not just on the update request form. So if you have any questions, or if you have new staff and are looking for any training for your staff on Apply Admin Tool, Report Center, please reach out to your college experience managers. And if you don't know who your college experience manager is, you can drop us an email at cems@ccctechcenter.org, and your experience manager will reach out to you. Like I mentioned, we are here to support any questions or onboarding for new staff about any of our Apply suite of products. MyPath, Data Warehouse, Superglue, we are at your service, so please reach out to us. If you have staff who want to participate in the private spam group that Jane mentioned, then drop us a note, drop a note to your college experience manager. They will send you a link to the onboarding form that will kick in the workflow that gets you going. And once approved, you will automatically be subscribed to that category. So you will receive notification anytime a new post is made or comment to an existing topic is made, so we can ensure you're not missing out. Of course, Superglue, right now we are at 100% adoption. We are live at all the schools. 4.7 adoption upgrade opportunities are still open for some of your districts. So if you're not sure, and if you haven't taken the opportunity to upgrade, please reach out to your college experience manager so we can get you upgraded, and you will be able to receive the latest fields, the newest fields that have been added to Apply.
I see a question from Anthony regarding auto awarding, and I have not heard of anything. We don't have tools and services specifically associated to auto awarding, but I know we have a couple of people from the Chancellor's Office here on the call who may be able to answer that question, or take up the question elsewhere. I know that there was, from the admissions listserv, I know that there was a group that got together to meet. There's significant interest, but the Technology Center is not engaged in that specifically. So I would defer to eSlay and Ed Services within the Chancellor's Office to ask that question, combined with the technology piece, but not something that's active to my knowledge. Any other questions or anything else? We'll go ahead and go to the last slide here. For contact, we encourage you. So one combined app for non-credit and standard app. So Margarita, thank you very much. We are moving in the direction of a simplified workflow that starts off by asking students a couple of questions about what they're working to get done at a college, and directs them into the shortest workflow possible for what they need to do to get started. And so there would not be a distinction between non-credit and credit at that point. Dual enrollment would have its own set of questions. And so that's what this future iteration is hoping to look like. And we've got the technology in place now to support that kind of student experience and workflow. So that's coming. That's our hope, our goal, our plan for next iteration. But at this point, and that's another good point I want to make, when we get all the requests in, part of what we will also be looking at is whether this is something to consider for what we call our legacy application, our currently active application, or if it's something to consider for what's next. And so depending on the level of effort, the time, those kinds of resourcing questions, one may make sense over the other. And to your additional question about the social security number in the non-credit app, I encourage filling out this form and requesting that it be put in for the non-credit app. We have gotten it from a few different colleges and non-credit entities that have asked for it to be put in, but this will formalize that request. So please ask for that.
We actually have development tickets in our backlog for that one. It's just prioritization now. So do actually add that to the list, because that of course helps us to get formal approval to prioritize that. We know it's very much needed for those who have the adult education grants and the pressure to have that SSN for reporting for that money. So it's on our radar.
Yes. The form is accessed through a link that came out with the invitation to this series, but we will go ahead and put it in the chat real quick.
And again, if you forget where this is, go to ccctechnology.info and say, where's that form? And then I think also MRT, I was going to talk with you about, we should have the form available there, like pinned at the top of the forum. For folks to access, or reach out to staff support and they'll help you as well.
So
Absolutely.
I put it in the chat, it's there. That's the abbreviated link to the Google form. So go ahead and that's where you can access it. We will also be sending out, as I said, this deck and recording will be sent out. Unfortunately, because of remediation we need to do for accessibility, it may not be in time to get the link that way, but please reach out. You can, Jane's email address is here, the CEM email address. Reach out for help if you need that link. Grab it from the chat for now as well. So we encourage your submissions. We look forward to seeing them. The ones we've gotten so far have been thoughtful, and in a couple of cases, stuff that's already in development. So it would be exciting to be able to say, hey, you know what, we can accommodate your request. We've got it on the list. So we look forward to doing that. And thank you for attending today and being part of the process for the critical feedback that you all provide for CCCApply. And to Michael's point, if you have any other questions, if you have questions outside of Apply, we'll stay on, and I'll go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing, and we'll go ahead and answer other questions for now that people may have.
I wanted to make a quick note about the question from Allison. We've been receiving this question from a few different schools today, so I would just want to clarify. So the escalation group that you're hearing about is a tier 2 team that works on support cases where we need to verify the identity of a student before working on their account. So they do that by reaching out to the student via phone, or if we keep missing and playing phone tag, then the student can also verify their identity via email by providing a copy of any of their identity forms, and then we can move on. We're seeing a bit of a spike in those support cases coming in today, so we're working through them as quickly as possible. But yes, that what the students are telling you is correct. We typically process those within the 24-hour period. And Anna, do you have a question for us? Sandoval, I don't know if the participants can unmute themselves and ask a question, or do they put that in chat for us?
I see the hand. Anna, are you able to use the chat? We do have blank muting on right now, Michael, so.
Gotcha, thank you.
Margarita, the next iteration of the application is we're looking at pilot process next calendar year. But again, there's a larger effort underway being led by the Executive Vice Chancellor, John Hetz, with Accenture as consulting on this effort around Apply. So in terms of timing, that's still to be determined as we work together with that reimagining effort that's going on.
Yeah, one of the things that the new architecture opens up is, as Jennifer mentioned, a lot of ability to branch and to show students not just the reduced number of questions, but also a reduced number of options in the questions to make it more intentional. For example, in our dual enrollment, our phase 1 demo for dual enrollment, there's really only one or possibly two educational goals and then educational background options that are really apply to those students. So we can narrow that list from 11 to 1 or 2, and it means that the students can actually select the right option, right? And that's what we're looking to do with the next gen. But what that means is there's a lot of conversation that has to happen around what are the options that we display, what are the questions that we display for the different student groups. The technology is not the long pole here. It's actually that consensus and that discussion that's going to happen.
Thanks, Jane. Anna, were you able to use the chat? I don't think we can unmute you because of the way the webinar is set up, but we encourage you to put something in the chat if possible.
There is a question from Anna there now.
Okay, I see it now.
Centered.
I
Yep,
have
yep.
adult students who have completed their high school diploma. The CCC application doesn't recognize their high school.
I wonder if that if you're referring to the school name not being displayed in the dropdown, Anna. Jane, you might be able to refresh my memory on the service we use. So we use a service that sends us the list of high schools that's updated and
Right.
visible in Apply. If
It's
you
from
don't,
the College Board.
thank you. If you don't see the school name, high school, local high schools listed, please drop us a note at the college staff support email. I'll drop that in the chat and we will work to get that updated in the system for you.
When I confirm the application as spam, then another staff member who doesn't know that I confirm spam be able to pull the application using confirmation number and release the application.
Yes, if they have access to CCCApply administrator, yes, they will. But again, this is one reason why typically there aren't that many administrators people who access CCCApply administrator. But if they are approved as an administrator, then yes, they can actually pull that down. But that's supposed to be controlled through who has access to that.
Corey's question, are we still on track for ID.me pilot for next week and production in December? That is the timeline that the Tech Center is still working on. Communication is pending from the Chancellor's office, and so watch for more information to come. We are gearing up for student testing and additional pilot efforts and release notes that are coming out from the Tech Center to follow that communication from the Chancellor's office. So watch for more, still pending on that timeline.
Yeah, what we're working on, which is only the technical aspect of that, project management's all done through the Chancellor's office, so they have the final say on whether those dates are good. We have on our side for the technical aspects of it are ready for those dates. So it's just whether the Chancellor's office says yay or nay, and in terms of what they need to do.
So David, separate topic. Have there been discussions around a shared, I'm assuming that's identity management tool across the system? Is that what you're?
I think instant messaging.
Oh yes, Slack, okay. At this point, not that I'm aware of outside of there being options through college buys, but coordinated use and selection of a tool has been an ongoing discussion for a few years, both at the student level and the faculty and staff level. But I don't know that any additional headway has been made in that regard. I know that with moves toward Microsoft with A5 and other efforts that have been funded through security initiatives, they're looking at the potential to move more in that direction from the Chancellor's office perspective, but I haven't heard anything beyond that in terms of coordinated technology efforts for messaging.
However, I would be entertained, I think, by the system-wide smackdown between Microsoft Teams and Slack.
And if you're lucky, you get both. I got them both on my computer all the time. Yep. Any other questions from anyone?
Yeah, there's a.
And actually, Matt, we're going to be having training and more discussion on the bulk account creation tool. But yes, it actually does let you know if there's a duplicate. So there's feedback and error messaging around that.
And we have had a lot of conversations around duplicate handling as it relates to CCCID in general, not just with creation of new CCCIDs, but how to handle reporting as it relates to students who have more than one CCCID or CCCIDs that may be associated to more than one student. So we're having those conversations with MIS and research out of the Chancellor's office. And I expect that there will be additional information to come as we look forward with the requirements for CCCID and the bulk creation.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about the date, but we are targeting to get that out in around the same time frame as the IDME verification, and more to come. Again, the long pull on that is just making sure that we have the documentation and the best practices ready for that.
Jane, AB 928 filters, approximate date on that? I know
We're
it's
at spring 2024 is as close as I can get at this point, Will. And
that's partly because of IDME and some other priorities that we have.
Right. So we are trying to fast track as quickly as we can, but right now the target is spring. If we can bring it in, we will. We have really great documentation on that already, so we are going to try to release the documentation well ahead of that, so that you guys can see how it's going to change things and what you can do to be ready for it.
I do want to put a plug out for if anyone has upcoming workshop opportunities, conference session opportunities, proposals, things that you'd like to see from our office hours here at the Tech Center, or on-site presentations around our tools and services, please reach out to our team and let us know that it's happening and that you'd like to have a presentation on something specific. We're happy to coordinate those with those requests and make sure that we are letting you all know what's coming and how things are going to operate and where to find the documentation, because we're here to support all of your efforts at the colleges. So please reach out if you, for example, the request for a demo of what's possible with the next iteration of Apply. Those kinds of requests can always come in, and you can do that through your college experience managers as a starting point, and they'll reach out to the right team internally, and we'll get scheduled. Now that we can be on the road again, we are eager to go out and meet with all of you, and we are really working to expand our partnerships again and establish a collaboration across the system with regard to our centralized tools and services. So please reach out with those requests as well.
Yeah, and Roseanne, again, we're really in charge of the technical aspects of the IDME. All the project management and communication will be coming from the Chancellor's office. So my understanding is they will be having that information. In the meantime, if you want to understand more about just the general workflow and the new fields that are coming out of that, we already have the release notes available for that on the CCCApply public documentation site, and I'm hoping someone might be able to rush out and post that link, because that will get you started with quite a bit. It's not going to have, videos and all that sort of stuff. That stuff's coming from the Chancellor's office, but it will at least get you started on understanding what the scope of it and what's going to shake out in terms of new application data.
I happen to have it open on my computer, so there you go. That is the public documentation for the verification. Okay, we're at 12:58. I look forward to seeing your submissions for update requests and continued partnership as we go forward. Please let us know how we can support you. We are here to help. So thank you, and thanks for joining us, as Michael said.
Yes, and thanks for helping us, because this forum is really about you helping us, because we don't trust our own ideas. We need them from you.
And I always say the Tech Center doesn't decide stuff. We just collect information from the field and move forward.
Yep.
So,
you guys know where it's at. So thanks very much for your time.
And thank you, Jane, Jennifer, Sandoval, appreciate your help. And all our colleagues, the college experience managers, appreciate your help. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, everyone. I will stop the recording now. I'll leave the meeting room open for a few minutes, just in case there's any last moment stuff. Thank you.
Thanks.